Now I'm recording a new session for this in case anybody isn't here, but we do have 128 people in here. May even consider just not even putting up the recording because if you were here, you're meant to be here, right? So that's another perspective on it. This is a free little master class too. Um, quick little show of hands. How many of you guys like to day trade, SPY, QQQ, IWM? Any of you? No, you guys are not allowed to speak. Crazy. There's 128 of you guys, and you guys are all asking to speak. No, you guys are not speaking on my masterclass. No. How many of you guys like to do zero DTE type trading, SPY, QQQ, IWM? If you like saying I like swing trading, I want to buy and hold for the next 2 months. This is get out. There's no point in being here. Um, cool. You guys like to? Okay, so I um I used to do zero DT SPX trading. I loved it. So here is your alternative, right? How many of you guys have capital that's under? How many of you guys are under $1,000? Like you only have less than 1,000. To be honest, don't if you got 1,100, that doesn't count. How many of you guys have small amount of capital, less than 1,000? Okay, how about less than 2,000? Who's on the less than 2,000? Less than 2,000? Cool. Um, good. Okay, so most of you guys are in the less than 2,000 range, which also includes the 1,000 range, right? So, okay, well, that's only 10 people. There's 134 people in here, so maybe it's only still small. Okay, so everyone's rich in here, apparently, which is awesome too. That's fine. That's that's fine if you guys are rich. Let me go ahead and see. How come? Wait, I'm not able to share my screen anymore. Oh no, don't tell me there's technical difficulty number two, which is I can't share my screen unless you guys can see it. Hold on 1 second. Just see my face, yeah. Oh yeah, actually here's my share my screen button. Good. Plus it's also on the recording, so you guys can also see me in the recording. You covered recently, awesome. Polymarker bot, it's okay. It's like kind of slow right now. I have a larger account, but only allocate 5,000 in day trading. Haven't checked in a while. Got it. Okay. It looks like there's only 9 of you who have small amounts of capital. I want to show you one of the benefits of getting into this, even if you have a large amount of capital, because you have to think about it in a different way. Watch. Um, I paid, and I'll just try to get to the juicy stuff first before I lose everyone's attention, because every one of you has a only a TikTok um, lifespan of attention. So if you get, for example, a $50,000 account, right? So this is trading prop for money. So there's proprietary trading firms that are out there that basically say, "Are you a good trader?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, I'm a great trader." It's like, well, if you're such a great trader, would you like to trade our $50,000 of an account and we kind of split the money? And you'd be like, yeah, oh yeah, it's a 90-10 split. You keep 90%, we keep 10%. All you guys have to do is just pass our test. It's like, pass our test? What's the test? It was like, well, we have an evaluation. And after the evaluation, if you pass this evaluation, you go into step two. You get to basically trade our money. And we do that 90-10 split. Now, there are some rules that are involved. For example, um, how often you can get paid out, how much can you max get paid out on, and then what's like your drawdown looking like. So drawdown is basically your stop loss level. So if your account is a $50,000 account, but you have a trailing max drawdown of 2,000, that must mean that if your account hits 48,000, then you get kicked out of that account. You basically lose the privilege, and then you would have to quote unquote reset. So it would be cheaper than $99 to reset. But imagine this, if you had 5 accounts that were $50,000, that's $500. With $500 of capital, you are still able to trade $250,000 worth of capital, right? So 500 of your own versus their 250,000. That's one way to look at it. Or you can go and I like this instead. I trade the $150,000 account. Um, Costs a little bit more money, $221 one time, but the max trailing drawdown's 4,500, so you get to trade more, and um, your stop loss, so to speak, is at 4,500 under as opposed to 2,000 under. So in this case, it would be $1,550. Oh, sorry, $1,455,000, um, more or less. 14550. Then that would be your max trailing drawdown. So and that's when they get to kick you out. Any questions about that? Cool. If I full port and make 80K, what happens? Well, you have to look at this. If you get funded, just know that uh you would have a max payout of $5,000 in this case, for um every 5 days, right? So if you do make a lot of money, just know that you would just have to wait for that money, so to speak. And because there's only a max payout that you can withdraw every single time. But just to show you that you guys can withdraw, is this is an account that I did where on 2 weeks ago I spent $200 on this account just to prove to the mentorship people that it could work, and that's here. I guess look at my cute little certificate that you get. Yeah, you get a cute little certificate for every time you do it, and then you can brag to your friends that you spent $200, and then you can get paid out $3,500. So I know that for a lot of people, in the mentorship, they wanted a way that you can use a small amount of capital to still make big money. So this is one of the solutions, is you trade other people's money. Now you can self-fund it yourself. When you self-fund it, you can just go to the broker directly. So instead of doing Robinhood or Webull or anything, they are quite the requirements to trade futures is extra, or like it's it's huge. Like they're gonna ask for a lot of capital to do it. Tradevate, they don't ask for a lot of money when you want to trade futures. That's why you can go trade futures directly with Tradevate. That's what I do in my main account. But again, if you trade with Tradeify, for example, we do have our discount code, which is FPU, and you would get that. And all that does for us is it allows us to give back to the community. And if you, the more times you guys use this code, we can actually backtrace like who used it, because we can check the emails, and then we're gonna start doing giveaways on um, free accounts, so to speak. So we'll, like free $50,000 accounts, we do the giveaways for. So if you guys use code FPU when you guys do the checkout, that's it only adds to that benefit, and only the people whose emails that were registered, because we can see it under our affiliate account, then those are the ones that qualify for the free accounts. So if you use code FPU, there you go. You get your discount plus you get the basically a raffle chance. So and you can do any of the accounts that you'd like, but I like the 150K accounts. As you can tell here, I am funded on one of the accounts, and then I am working on a second account right now. Um, if you go on Tradeovate, oh, here, how about this? How about this? Is there any questions about this so far? Because I think I want to make sure that you guys understand why we want to be trading futures on that level, or you guys have to decide: do I trade my own accounts, or do we trade other people's money? Obviously, if you trade your own account, if you make $80,000, well, that 80,000 is yours. You don't have to worry about any stupid rules, and if there's any trailing drawdown or anything like that, you don't even have to worry about that. Because it's your own account. But the downside is, if you lose 6,000 of your own money, you lose 6,000 of your own money. If you lose 6,000 of another person's money, then no harm to you. So how many times can you request payout? Well, they have a daily payout and they have a every 5 day payout. But the daily payout sucks because they have a very tight drawdown. So let's say you can only lose 1,000 before they basically pause you for that day. So I think it's like very restrictive when you do the daily payout one. So just got to be careful, and just you have to look at the rules, and then we'll talk about the rules later. But I just want to make sure you guys have to at least decide in your mind: do I do funded my own, no rules, and but I lose all the money if I lose all the money, or do you trade other people's money? Um, okay, so $50 to start. 10% of the profits goes. No, 90% of the profits go to you, not 10% of the profits. So, anyways, I'm gonna try to go through these quickly so that we don't I don't spend too much time because I'm gonna be talking about a lot of this anyways in a pretty quick second. Um, we'll get you guys the mentorship link if you guys are interested, so we'll do interviews and stuff. But it's the mentorship is only for really serious people. I break down my entire strategy from A to Z. So, and then literally, if you want to trade like exactly how I trade, it takes some time to develop all the fundamentals, and we have like a 12-week program for that. So, but you guys will get you guys are going to get all of the details today, so don't feel like you need to get the mentorship in order to start being successful. You can start being successful as starting like 40 minutes from now once we finish kind of looking through the course stuff. um Question: if you blow up the account, is it easy to make a new one? Yeah, you just reset. Quite literally, you just buy you have to pay in again to reset but the reset price is cheaper than the buy-in price. Thank you. Also got some a little bit of new tat stuff too. So I need to finish the back of my arm though. But yeah. Oh, just join the mentorship. Yeah, I noticed the blue little color. That's awesome. Do a live trade with the students every single day. I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Payouts are calculated based on any additional amount after the profit target. Here's the thing. So payouts, when you let's say you pass the evaluation. So for example, on my SimK, on my Sim funded account, 150,000. Let's look at the rule for that, right? For 150,000, I did a growth account. You have to hit a profit target of 9,000, right? So this is all simulated. I hit 9,000. After I hit 9,000, you reset back to $0, and then you get your funded account. Now, when you get your funded account, you have a little bit more new rules. For example, consistency none, 35% here. We'll talk about that in a bit, but because there are rules to this stuff, and that's why you have to decide: do you want to go funded or do you want to go fund yourself? Because if you go funded, you're gonna have to abide by rules. When you do, what's the question again? Oh, so when you do the payout here, the payout is frequency is 5 days because they say one trading day. The rule is if you want to count to one trading day, it has to be a profit day of $250 or more. So if you do 250, 250, 250, 250, that's 4 trading days. But if you go negative 100 or whatever on day 5, that does not count as a trading day. So as long as you can get 5 trading days in, so that's assuming this is assuming 5 profitable days of $250 or more, then you can request your payout, and then your payout is a 90-10 split. You keep 90%, they keep 10%. Hopefully that makes sense. Question: and process of trading futures exactly like 0DTE. Yeah, it's for trading futures is pretty much options trading, but a lot better. And I'll just show you guys. It's quite literally, options trading is actually extremely difficult, and futures trading is like cheating. There's like it shouldn't be this easy to futures trade. So is there practice side? Yeah, we'll talk about that. Okay, so how about this? Let's go ahead and start. Okay, you guys are done. All right, you guys cut off. All right, let's just listen in so that we can teach first, and then after I teach, then we can talk about it because you guys are asking questions based off of no substance. So I want you to think about: do I go funded or not funded, or do I go funded or self funded? So I'll let you think about that. But in the meantime, here's this: you guys love many of you guys when I started the chat, you said you liked SPY, QQQ, and IWM. Great. Now when you buy SPY, for example, I put up a trade recently, which is what you go to Kenny Trades, and you're looking at what this guy's putting up, and he was like, oh, let's, you guys realize how hard this is? let's go by SPY and let's look at the calendar. Oh, the calendar is for Friday. Friday is 529. And then if I look at the chart for SPY, what is the good strike price for this? Is 752 the good strike price? Oh, okay, 752 is a good strike price. Um, and then if I go get an entry, I need to put in a limit order, and then after that I go swipe up, and then after that I you need to hope it gets filled, and after you get filled, then you have your entry. You guys see how you have to pick this and this and then this and then this, and then you have to put in the order, and then you have to get filled, and after that there's that. Okay, how many of you guys would agree that if it could just be a lot easier than that? Yes, let's see. Yeah, it's gonna be recorded. How many of you guys would agree that if it was just easier than this, life would be easier? I just need a little thumbs up. I just need a little thumbs up. I say I get one yes. One yes. Yep. Many steps. Yeah, if you want to copy trades, right? No, you guys are not allowed to speak. Stop. Shut up. Yes. Okay, cool. Here, I will show you. And by the way, what happens here? Let's talk about this with options too. Yeah, what happens at the end as time goes on, right? We have in options something stupid called a time decay curve. So sometimes your premium starts at $2, but by the end of the day, it goes down to zero. Let's see how that's a freaking problem if you're day trading. If you're doing 0 days till expiration, you're almost on a time crunch to get the price right. Okay, so what is the alternative? So if you're in, so this is all that it takes to get into SPY. I'll give you literally the equivalent, and I will even show you side by side. I'll show you side by side ES. So if you go to ES and we go to 1 minute chart, 1 minute chart, let's look at it. Okay. All right, you guys. Can we all agree this is the same chart? Let me get some yeses in here. Same chart, right? Yeah, it's the same chart. Okay. So we're gonna compare. How it was to enter into SPY versus. I'm gonna do this by, so you go to trade. If you're doing on this on desktop, you go on trade. You can go to paper trading. Some person asked me on the chat, how can I practice? Well, what's it called? TradingView itself has a practice platform. Okay, so you guys remembered SPY 529, 752 call at 213, swipe entry, and now you're in. Okay, if you want to get into a call contract, you click buy, and now you're in. Everyone cool? Everyone good with that? You guys chilling? Anybody have any questions about that? I maybe here how about this? Um, if that was really confusing, I'm going to get a second call contract. Buy. Yeah. Okay, so okay. That's it. Do you guys see that I don't get time decay? Do you guys see I didn't have to pick a strike price? Do you guys see that I don't have an expiration? Do you guys see how I don't even need to worry about how many day trades I'm doing? It's unlimited day trades, by the way. This that the SPY call 529 at 529 at 752 call, irrelevant. All you would have to do is click buy, and now I'm in 3 contracts. Yeah, quite literally. Yes. Yeah. So obviously you wouldn't probably go 3 contracts in. You would play this a lot slower. I'm just showing you what it's like to trade futures. What it's like to trade futures is quite literally this. Yeah. I don't know how to tell you guys that you guys have been making your 0 DTE trading significantly more complicated than it should be. You guys see how dumb it is to go get into an XPX call that you're experiencing time decay. You have to find the contract. You have to find the right size, or your sizing properly. You got to figure out which strike price to choose, and you have to worry about you're like, oh, is it gonna move fast enough because the premiums are moving so quickly. And then here's this. Well, if you have 3 contracts, how do I get out? Okay, you right click and you could put a sell limit order. And if it hits, you get taken there you go. That's your sell limit order. Now, how do I set up my stop loss? You want good trade risk management. Okay, you right click and you click sell. Here's your stop loss. Some person asks, well, how do I put my stop loss? Yeah, that's it. You literally right click under somewhere, and then you just click stop loss, or you click sell, sorry, and then that creates a sell order. Now, obviously, this wasn't an entry I would normally take, you guys. Like, I'm not gonna just buy willy nilly, just anywhere. I have very specific rules and how do I get my perfect entry, and you have to, there's levels to the shit, right? You can't just click buy and then all of a sudden you're making money. You need to look at, supply and demand. You need to look at, these ideal entry points. You have to look at, break of structure, and then maybe a higher low development, and then you look for these opportunities, and then so normally you would set up a buy order here, and then you set up a stop loss here, for example, at your buy zone, right under the buy zone. Yeah, stop losses for weaklings. Yeah, also, also great mentality for blowing up your account. Um, yeah, so the futures ticket. Yeah, so the futures ticker for SPX is pretty much ES. So well, let's talk about that real quick. I guess I'll write notes on this side. So if you love trading SPY or SPX, then you will love trading ES because it's the same chart. And then if you love QQQ, then you would really love NQ because it's the same chart. If you love IWM, then you would love RTY because it's the same fucking chart. So I already demonstrated how SPY is equivalent to ES. So just you can believe me when I say if you like trading QQQ, it's exactly the same as NQ. Now, how much does this all cost if you're doing self-funded, right? Because I told you there's a self-funded route, and then there's the you can trade other people's money route. Well, if you want to trade ES, which is pretty slow moving, by the way, I'm not used to how slow this is. 3 contracts of NQ would never be this slow. But if you want to trade slow, maybe I'll put that in parentheses or something. And maybe I'll actually do new lines for this just so I can have more space. If you want to trade NQ, which is slow, if you want to do self-funded, it's $500 that you need in your account per contract. Okay, it's not that uh yeah, just know that obviously how fast ES can move, you can what's going to happen is if your account does go under $500, for example, all you had was 550 in the account and your account goes under 500, then they start thinking about liquidating you because you don't have enough margin. So that's what we mean by having $500 in the account. If ideally you're going to have probably a lot more capital than that, like if you need at least probably $1,000 to start trading ES, so that they don't do margin calls on you or ask for you to put in more money, because they need at least $500 in your accounts for every contract that you have. So if you have 2 contracts of ES, then you're going to want to see at least $1,000 minimum stay in your account. Now yeah, so this is low and slow. You can do that. If you want to be crazy and intense like me, this is the NQ is the fast one. This one requires $1,000 per contract. Now you can see here when you do if you do this the funded route where you're going to trade other people's money, remember the minimum account I told you guys you should get is probably the $50,000 account minimum for a on the for the funded route. Get the 50,000, but I recommend getting the um this account, the 150,000 one. Just because the drawdown is so it's there's so much drawdown that you have more space to make more errors without getting kicked out. So that's why I recommend the higher one if you're good. You can trade the small one when you're starting because you don't want to put in a lot of capital. For example, this one's I think $99, and then this other one's like 221. So obviously, if you know you're going to be probably sucking, you can probably just do this one, right? Just do that one. That way, if you reset, you can have two of these accounts for the price of one of these accounts. And chances are you'll probably blow up the first time that you ever try any of these accounts because you're just not used to futures yet, but you will be. That's fine. So there's that. I think, and then RTY, I don't trade it. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how fast it really moves, and I think it's 500 maybe. Yeah, I'll just be real. I don't know. I don't know what RTY is. So yeah, there's that. So now, if you're doing the self-funded route, there's actually another option I didn't talk about, and actually, this might even work well for the $50,000 account level too, which is for this. There's actually another option, which is you can do go 1/10 the size on all of these. If you want to go make it even slower, there is a micro version of all of this. So some of you guys already had said it, but there is also MES, the micro version of it, and this goes 10 times slower. It's also 10 times cheaper. So instead of how about this? Instead of, remember what I asked for, $500, right? And if you want to trade with a smaller account, you can trade MES, and that requires $50 of. Oh, by the way, my stop. No, I don't want you to hit yet. But you guys can see you can see how fast this starts to move sometimes. Yeah, maybe I'll trim one right there. 3 contracts, trim 1. I'll be down to 2 contracts if that goes. Anyways, so let's do cap required. So the capital required for MES would be $50 because it's going 1/10 of the speed. And if you want to trade MNQ, that's going to be $100 that you need in your account. So you can essentially trade. How about this? Yeah, you can trade the micro version instead if you want to go self-funded, but with a small account, you can do that as well because this is a lot more manageable. If you have a $1,000 account, you can easily trade 1 or 2 MNQs and you will still be fine, and you can still make a lot of money with MNQs, even at 1/10 the speed. And I'm telling you now, MNQ or NQ is extremely fast. So if, for example, this is like excruciatingly slow for my brain to see 3 contracts move at this pace. ES is very, very, very slow in my opinion, and the MNQ is very fast. And then if ES and the micro versions MES and NQ, the micro versions MNQ, then as you guys will guess, the micro version for RTY is M2K, obviously, you guys. Yeah, so M2K is gonna be the micro version of that, and I have no idea what the capital requirement is. I think it's $50. I think what happens is that that you can't do, if you look at, for example, ES. If you do ES, usually it has this. It's like ES1 exclamation point. I don't know if that's the case, but I think they just wanted like a 3-letter symbol, and so MRTY was out of the picture for the Russell 2000. They said, well, we can just say micro 2000, and then that's how you trade RTY. Yeah, and then that's equivalent to IWM. So let's just say Victoria or something says IWM calls. You can do one of the 2 things. You can buy one RTY, which is the equivalent of like a supercharged IWM call, or you can go a tenth of the speed and get an M2K, or you can get 2 or 3 or 4 M2Ks, because remember, this is 1/10 of the size. And when I say 1/10 of the size, you have to think 10 M2Ks equals to 1 RTY. That's, yeah, quite literally a tenth of the speed. So you can, which is kind of nice for trimming. For example, on if you know 10 MNQs, that is equivalent to 1 NQ. And some, if you have one contract, you can't really do anything. You're all or nothing. But if you get maybe even you do I want to get 5 MNQs, and then you trim 3, then you can trim 2 later, right? That is why you'd want to get the MNQ route, because then you can just split up your contracts a little bit easier. But yeah, there's that. So let's go ahead and see if there's any questions about any of that so far. How much was on 150K account? That one's $221. Yep. You're on paper. You're trading pay-per-view. Why is it when I press the buy line is set above the current market price and starts in the negative? Probably because you don't have real-time quotes. So I didn't say, but I think if you guys go look towards the top left on any of the futures contracts, there might be a little like 15-minute delay button or something like that, and then just click on whatever that button that is, and then you can buy the real-time data. I think the real-time data is $7. So yes, obviously, if you're gonna practice futures, pay that fucking small chump change to practice, because you're going to need to practice before you start getting out there and start trading other people's money. So how do you choose the number of cons? Yeah, it's easy. Just 1 or 2 or 3. Or how about this? You can just go, if you know you have 3 now and I want 2 more, I can go buy 1, buy 1. Now I'm up to 5, right? And then usually for accounting reasons, if I'm at 5 contracts, I like to also set the equivalent number of stop loss orders. There you go. So then I have at least, I know that if I get off of the screen, I always have some sort of a stop loss set. And then take profit. Obviously, if this goes in profit, then I don't even have to worry about that, because if it just keeps making more money, then I'll worry about it later. I can trim later. But always set up your stop loss if you're gonna get into a futures trade, so that even if you have to step away, you always have some sort of stop loss staving you. Cool. I want to make sure that yes, I am in the paper trading. Yeah. So, and then if you open up the bottom section here, you can see your accounts when to see like the overall picture and everything. And then you can also go here to change like what account you are if you're doing multiple accounts. For example, I have a funded account and I have another account that I'm working on for evaluation. Cool. When do they consider the account blown and kick you out again? That's with the trailing drawdown. So for example, if you have a really easy, if you have a $50,000 account and you have an end of day trailing drawdown of -2,000, really easy math. You just take that number minus 2,000, and so let's say 48,000 is the lowest you can go. And then if you hit 48,000, they say they kick you out. So you just look at that number, and we'll go over the rules in a bit. Cool. Okay. Or open the position right before you go to bed. It'll work itself out. I've actually done this and done $6,000 doing this before. So yeah, you can open a position, set up a stop loss, and if you get it at the correct time, you can wake up with a lot of money. It's very funny when it happens, actually. If y'all go to TradingView and use paper trade, you can find out, yeah, how long are the contracts. Oh, these are all the trading contracts. So by the end of the day, you're done. I didn't tell you guys though, the market is open 23 hours a day on ES. So if things are happening aftermarket or whatever, you guys can have access to SPY, QQQ, and IWM even when the market's closed. Yeah, yeah. Tell that to options. Yeah, you can't do that in options. In fact, the big hedge funds use futures trading as hedge. What does that mean? Like if they have a bunch of call contracts in their options account, and then futures is tanking, like the whole market is just dying, well, they can go short and they can make essentially make that money back. So as the market is like dying, like maybe some Trump news happens, right, and the market's just crashing, well, they can enter into their ES or NQ contracts. They can go short, and you can make money on the way down on your futures portfolio, and then your options portfolio is obviously going to be compromised in the morning, but you can counter that by being smart, and you can trade because you can trade futures 23 hours a day. So if you lose, what is that? So if you lose $1,500 today and then 500 tomorrow, you get kicked out. Yes, yeah, yes, essentially, yeah. And that's why I say if you get the bigger account, like $100,000 account, then you get a bigger drawdown. So you get to basically allow yourself to make more mistakes and still be okay. How do you go short or long? Well, I showed you how to go long, right? So let me exit out of this position. Oh, how do I get out? Well, here's a couple ways you can get out. If I'm long, I have 5 contracts betting that the stock is going to go up. If I want to get out of one, I'm just going to sell one. And then there's a lot of lag. There you go. Now I'm at 4. If I sell another one, there you go. I'm at 3. And if you just want to get fully out, you can just click on this X button right here. Boom. Watch. Dang it, that's not how it's supposed to work. Anyways, you're supposed to when you're trading a real account, it will cancel out all of your orders as well when you click that close out button. So let's go ahead and go down to a single screen now, and we'll see what how do you go short, for example. So you guys like calls and you guys like puts. Well, you're gonna really love this. We just did the call scenario right now. How do I get puts essentially? Okay, in order to get puts, you have a position size of 0 right now, and you just go negative. So you click short, and then if you click short, or if you go negative, then that is the equivalent of getting a put. So I make money only if this negative position, only if this contract goes down, then that is how I go short. And then if you want to set up a stop loss, you would set up a buy stop order. Because if this is -1, I need to add +1 to go down to 0 again. So this is how you get a put, is you just go in negative position. So positive position is long, or a call. So positive position equals to a call, which is just like long. And then and then a negative position, fucking can't spell this morning. Negative position is going to be a put, which is short. So if we want to go, if I want to get 2 or 3 contracts short, I can go sell, 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 and then if it ever goes down, I will make money. Hopefully, you can demonstrate what going down looks like, so that guys can see how that money works. Oh, I'm up $500 in literally a minute. I'm going to trim and trim again and trim again. There you go. I did some trims. I took out some profit. I'm going to put a stop loss here. No matter what happens, if the price goes up, it will lock me in to a little bit of profit. So my case scenario is, do I lock it in for $200, or does it hit my stop loss and I make $40? By the way, the reason why I had added so many contracts is I've seen this type of pattern happen all the time. And when I see that pattern, I know usually I get a big candle afterwards. And then when the big candle happens, I just go trim, trim, trim. And then I lock in, let's say $300 or $400. And then I leave a runner, just like how I did now. And this runner, if it keeps going, well, I still have skin in the game. I already locked in about $300 to $400 here. I have skin in the game. And then if it ever hits my stop loss, this stop loss is, let me do some math. So 265 minus 263, essentially, that's 2 points. And I know that for every, it's a $20 per point. So I will make $40 in my stop loss scenario, or I can take the profit now at 190. So my worst case scenario is I make money, and that is how I like to trade. I don't like to lose money. So if I can get really, really good entries, and I trim very quickly if I'm right, and then I set up this where my stop loss is in profit. Easy. Notice how I don't have any time decay. I don't have to worry about other contracts, and it was really easy for me to set up a stop loss. I just right click, and then you can go click your, you can click the set up a stop loss order like that, or you can move your stop loss like that. I don't know if you guys have tried it. If you guys try to make any stop loss in options, it is a fucking pain in the ass, because then you're gonna have to choose a contract price, which is like 1.8, but 1.8 is such an arbitrary number because it doesn't even relate to any price on the scale. It's just some random number, 1.7 or 1.5, and you're like 1.5 is just a random contract price. And then sometimes with the volatility of the contract, it hits anyway. But here, it's very cut and dry. It's like, did it hit this level? If it did, takes you out. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, fuck you guys and use UDTE. There's no point in overcompensating for that. How do you know it's $20 per point? Because I've been trading this for like 7 years, so I know the numbers that I work with, which is I trade, I'm an NQ trader, so I know it's $20 per point. And then so it's $50 per point for ES, and then $20 per point for NQ. But don't get it twisted. NQ is significantly faster than ES, even though you get. I think they pay out more for MES just to compensate for how slow it is. So don't get that twisted. MNQ or NQ is extremely fast. No, no, you can't hold overnight for futures. This is why I said if you are thinking about, if you're a trader that says I want to buy and not think about it, and then I'm gonna hold for the next month. No, get out of this. This is not for you. This is specifically for day traders, and that's why I asked in the beginning of this chat if you do you like SPY? Do you guys like QQQ and IWM? Do you guys like zero DTE? Okay, then you're really gonna love this. You don't have to do any of the crazy stuff anymore. You'll still make a shit ton of money if you're right. You just buy multiple contracts. And then if you need it slower, you can go to the micros, and then you can just set up your stop losses and all of that. Um, yeah, K Money. I don't know. I don't even know if I have time to really be talking about all of the perfect entries and exits. I'll show you guys a couple strategies in the end. But yeah, we can have someone reach out to you. It really depends. For mentorship, there's different levels because a lot of people need a lot of different help. Oh, look, the man, the man already started. He said, Kenny, Kenny told me to get the 150K account, and he just told me to go short, so I went short, and I made $486.96. There you go. See, there you go. Oh, I had two stop loss orders. So, my stop loss order for the short got taken out at plus. I made plus $40 on that last contract, and then I had an extra buy order somewhere in there. So now I'm long, I guess. So I guess I'll hold on to that long, and then yeah, and then that should actually be a great trade, because I'm an only long guy. So anytime I can have an opportunity to go long, that's made me a lot of money. That actually was the reason why I made $10,000 yesterday. Is I just went long only for pretty much most of the day, and so as long as you can find an opportunity to go long, go long. That's the market right now. Like for the past almost like 24 days, you can just go long, and then you would have made money. Um, and just the man, I hope you got to see how easy it was to make $500. Right, it's significantly. You can just get in and out in like a few minutes if you get the right opportunities. You can literally just call it a day in like 5 minutes of trading, and so you guys are good with that. Yeah, we'll put up the link for the mentorship, you guys, in a bit, like a little bit later, so you guys can at least talk and see if it's worth it. But it's only for really serious people. Um, do you ever get retested if you reset your account? You basically restart the process all the way from zero again, DF. So if you blow up your account, when you say reset, quite literally, everything gets wiped out to back to zero again. So you don't want to reset. That's why you want to just kind of take it easy at first and kind of build your weighting slowly. Um, why not go short when you know it's going to drop? I do go short sometimes, but I'll tell you now, most of the market, most of the time, will always, anytime the market goes down a little bit, it's what I've been finding is that that slight down is so little that you might as well use that as an opportunity to find your next long. You see what I mean? If it's going down, don't think, oh, I can perfectly time how much this is going to go down. How about you let it come down a little bit? You look for you use that time to picture out what your perfect long entry is. And that is just generally just going long in this futures market is extremely profitable. So just use those opportunities to be patient and then go long, and then you wouldn't have to worry about being on the opposite side of the trade. So again, I endorse only long type behavior. So like you don't even think about shorts. You just look for when's the next opportunity to go long. Um, but if you want to do both, you could. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you now. It's sometimes it's really hard to predict how how much time it's going to take for a short to keep working before it does a big spike up again. And usually it will spike out of nowhere. We'll talk about my favorite indicators in a bit. Do you rock multiple accounts in case? Actually, there is a reason why I'll do multiple accounts, and it's because usually I've hit the rules and everything. Cool. So you guys, let me exit out of this. Okay, cool. So let's talk about this. You guys know why we trade futures. You guys know how to get into a positive position or a negative position, which is the equivalent of a call or a short. There is, again, no time decay, no strike price. There's 23 hours a day trading. There is unlimited day trades. There's no yeah, there's no limit on how many day trades you can do. It's day trading only, by the way. So I'll just make sure you guys get that in your head that it's day trading only. But when after the 23-hour mark or whatever, whenever that clock hits and it stops the trading, you can always if you're long right at the exit, just you can always re-enter long right at the open because you do 1 hour of maintenance a day, so that's why I say 23 hours of trading. And if you guys need to look, just look up the time if you want to know. Oh well, what time does it end? Okay, don't ask me. Just look at the time on your stuff. You guys can figure that out. Oh yeah, so no time decay, no strike price, no expiration date. Hallelujah. And then all you have to do is click buy or sell, and then you can, and then of course set up your orders. You know, risk management. Okay. I literally don't see what is the point in you guys doing zero DTE trading when these are all of the benefits that shit on SPX, right? You can just buy, sell, and you can set up your orders. Cool, done. Um, great. So let's say that okay, Kenny, I'm ready. Um, I want to get into this. How does this all work? Here's this. What should I do first? Should I give you some tidbits? How about this? I'll give you some tidbits on some strategies that you can use so that you can feel comfortable and believe me when I say how easy this is. So as long as you guys know some basics, for example, support and resistance, you guys will most likely be fine. Double top, right? And if it starts rejecting, you can go short. And then how long do you go short until, or when is like the good time to exit? Well, I have an indicator for that. So if I were to turn off the indicator, you can see how naked some of this feels. So if you go, you say, okay, obviously that's an uptrend, that's a little mini downtrend, this is consolidation, and this is a double top hit. And then once I saw that started to reject, and you go in here and you click on that, and you say, oh yeah, that's gonna reject. I'm gonna go short. Fuck no, not 20. I'll go down to 1. I'm going to go short. What you can do here is you can set up a stop loss order there. You can let that play out. Oh, you're starting to make money. But then when does this end, right? So then you can add this new one. This new indicator is going to give you some little insight in when maybe you should start to close out, and you're going to start looking for potential exits, and then you can think, huh, you know what, 2,600, it's pretty good. And I've been getting a lot of little signals lately that says, maybe I should get out. And then if I add that with another indicator, for example, this one, yeah, this indicator is saying, we should start to probably bottom out a little bit, right? So, and then maybe you look at this and there's a big volume spike, and then you realize that maybe you should get out. Then after you get out, it's like, well, if I'm going to get out, and Kenny said I should go only long, maybe I should click buy, and this would be a good opportunity to do that, and then I'll set up maybe a stop loss order here, and then if you click long, maybe I'm going to start making money on the long side, and then there you go. Kenny said only long, and that's why I just made $4,600. Guys, look how fucking easy this is, right? It's easy. Um, yeah, it's just here's the bread and butter, right? So, you're gonna use this. You're gonna go here. You're gonna add stochastic RSI. This tells you when things are too low and things are going to start to need to bounce, or too high and price would probably need to consider going down. So that's the stochastic RSI. You guys have the recording. You guys are grown men and women. You guys can click on that button. You guys are fine. Okay, stochastic RSI. The next one is going to be the Nadaraya Watson. Again, that's hard to spell. I get it. How about NADA? And then you click on this one by Lux Algo. It's 31,800 downloads, so you can't miss it. You add that envelope on there, and it's going to give you little arrows that basically say, that's going to, start to slow down or top out a little bit. And then, or when you're get all these signals that basically said, hey, warning, warning, like we're probably getting too low now. We should consider going up. Then you have the Nadaraya Watson. Combined together, you're going to usually wait for the two signals. So you don't usually just go, and usually there's another one, and that's part of supply and demand. And I can't go into too much detail on that because there's a lot of theory that goes into supply and demand. But that is your demand zone. Usually what I like to do is I say supply and so priority list. When trading futures, I usually do number one is supply and demand, and then number two, Nadaraya Watson, and then number three is going to be stochastic RSI. So if my priority list is completely filled, then I have a good trade typically. And then you see when that reversal hits, that hits my demand zone, and that also fits in line with the Nadaraya Watson and the stochastic RSI. So that is how I find the perfect trades. Boom. Cool. Done. All right, you guys know how to trade. Awesome. Let's do this now. You guys have my indicators. You know what I kind of look for. Supply and demand, you can always look up yourself, or but I have to teach that extensively. It takes a lot of time to get in your head whatever a supply and demand zone truly looks like, and then there's nuances to that, so it gets really complicated. Um, but if you can get all of that down, or if you can just follow my advice and just find every opportunity to go long, right? All of these dip opportunities, right? Um, and then Nadaraya Watson's there. Let me look at stochastic RSI on that one real quick. You guys see that stochastic RSI is oversold here, and it's below. You get a buy signal, and then that's actually close to a demand zone right over here. Put all that together and you just go long, and then it was, you guys saw how that one contract was $4,700 if you can get it here, and you got the spike. This is a 1 minute chart, by the way, so that entry was 6:50 a.m. to 7:37, let's say 7:15. So this was, let's do some math here. So to produce $4,700 for one contract of NQ, that took about, I think, 15. That took 25 minutes. Yeah, go from here to here. And remember, when I said for NQ contract, how much does that cost? NQ contract, you need to have $1,000 for every contract. So you putting in $1,000 of NQ right here, and in 25 minutes, you would have produced $4,700 had you got into that long trade with me. And so your account would have been from 1,000 to $5,700 within 25 minutes. No time decay, no strike price, no expiration. Literally, if you want to self-fund yourself, the benefit is you don't have to worry about payout rules or any of that stuff. You just You just pocket all of that in 30 minutes. You guys see how dumb it is to go SPX 0 DTE type trading? It's really dumb. I'm gonna go look at all of these. Can you break down why you went long this morning? Oh, because I'm just here's the short answer. I'm always long. I always try to find any opportunity to find a long situation. You don't need a membership to have in the indicators, but if you want to have at least get the essentials plan, which is like the $10 plan. How do you know that's a demand zone? Because market theory. Yeah, with free plan you also get if you guys are serious about trading and guys can start to see the money that I'm talking about, guys spend the $10 on the fucking basic plan. It's really it's just a no brainer. Spend the $8 for real time data so that you guys can practice properly, so that you guys can practice in real time. Is that the Bollinger Bands? No, this is way better. No, I use not a Raya Watson. No, Bollinger Bands has too many it produces too many false signals, so I don't like it. Because you wanna get I'd rather you guys trade less with high quality rather than trade with a lot of signals but less quality. You trade on the 1 minute? Yeah, I trade on the 1 minute just because NQ is so fast already. How does your risk management work? I look for I have particular setups, and my setups already know have 70% plus win rate. So then, as long as I'm usually looking for example, if I think things is going to reverse, I let it reverse for me, and as it's working, maybe I'll enter. Maybe I'll enter. And because I let it reverse already, in hindsight, I knew it was going to happen. I saw that it was about to happen. It starts happening, then I enter, and then my stop loss is underneath all of that. I let hindsight work in my favor. So I try to predict, I let it happen, and if I'm right, I enter. And then I put my stop loss underneath all of that. Can you please show how to find supports and resistance on futures chart? It's the same thing, honestly. Supports and resistance, you guys, is basic as fuck. You just go, it's like you have one point here and you have another point there. That's a support. Or that's a resistance, I'm sorry. And then if you guys want, use the horizontal line tool. Boom. Here's the nuance that I talk a lot about in my mentorship. Once you already hit these levels and it's already been occupied, these levels have already been hit, a third or fourth time doesn't always mean it's stronger. Sometimes it means that all of the orders that were taken up here, they've already been eaten up. You can also anticipate that because the orders already eaten up here, any third or fourth or fifth hit is going to be weaker in terms of predicting resistance. Like here, you can see it totally pierced right through it. So then it had no bearing or meaning. So that's why sometimes they'll draw them locally like this. You just go 1.2 points, boom, and then that could be used, for example, as a way to set up like a entry. You do this, and then that's your entry. Then you can have your stop loss here. So stop loss. So you can have a stop loss there, and let's do your entry is middle center, middle bottom to do. You can start up it, and when I'm doing this, obviously I'm talking about a short position. So I'm talking about you see a potential double top or something, you enter in here for a short, and then you have a stop loss that's above that level, so to speak. This is what I mean by if I can predict or see a pattern that I like, which is I know like a double top pattern is a very common pattern that I like to trade. I can predict that it will probably happen. I'll check the Nadaraya Watson. Nadaraya Watson's giving me a sell signal. And then I know that it's at resistance, and then I let it happen. And after I let it happen, I'll enter in late on purpose so that, and then because I just need to know that it's going to work in my favor, and then I'll put up my stop loss, at the invalidation point, which is I don't think it will go anywhere higher than that. There you go. That's how you trade. But anyways, that's how you trade futures. It's not really, honestly, if you just trade supports and resistances, you can get away with a lot. Just know the nuances for supports and resistances. Super easy. Yeah, let's look at this guy. Yeah, K Money. He said just long and chill. Quite literally, just go long. Honestly, say for example, our prop count max loss is like 3% per trade. How you plan to lose, us, how you take profit. Yeah, I just do it based off chart movement, and honestly, you need to touch it and feel it in order for you to really understand. And in order for you to touch and feel it and understand it properly, just go MNQ. It's really easy to go down to, um, like if you go MNQ and you start practicing, you guys will get a really good feel of how it moves. But look at the price change. You're looking at $1, $2, right? And if you're gonna like kind of buy it and hold it for hours, then when you do that, and then it's really manageable to do risk management at this scale. And then all you have to do is, if you really want to do more, you can always just get 3 or 4 of these, because 10 MNQs is equal to 1 NQ. So you have a lot of you have a lot of leeway at this pacing at the MNQ level to really get a good risk management. And if all you do is you trade MNQ, when you're trading even $100,000 account, it's like impossible to blow up because you're always trading at a small scale. Um, and then is it because you're going long, that usually, by the way, has produced a lot of money anyway. And if you just hold it, usually, even though it's a slower pacing, as you guys can tell, just because if you hold it for a longer amount of time, especially if you get a good percentage gain out of it, you can easily make hundreds of dollars even at the or MNQ level, at the micro level. Do your winnings act as a buffer for the amount you can lose on the TradingView accounts? Yeah, so you always want to. I think as a beginner, what you'll find is that when you're a beginner, you're scared that you will lose the money you make. You almost have to be a little bit greedy, and I want you to try to produce a lot of profit very quickly, and then use that as a buffer. So, no, for example, for this one, no buy sell prompts for Nadaraya Watson. No, I coded that myself to put the buy signal so that when I teach, you guys know what those arrows mean. But now you guys know what the arrows mean. So just for teaching sake, I have a very special one that I coded that just has the word buy or has the word sell next to it, but it's the same thing. I just added a word next to it. Um, Type in Nadaraya in the search bar in the chat, and you can find my message from 2 years ago. Yeah, that's fine. If you want to go through Kent's way, yes, I did post it like a long time ago. It's been so long, I don't even remember how I shared my specific version of it. But anyways, you guys get the point though. You don't even need that, to be honest. Even if you got the basic one that didn't have the word sell, it would have been fine. But I coded it so that it had the word buy or sell for teaching purposes. Cool. Let's talk about this. You guys know how to trade. You guys know how that all works. Let's finalize all of this. There is a futures trading channel, which is somewhere. Freaking messy. There's so much. There you go. Futures trading. In the futures trading channel, I have a beginner lesson on there, which could be good. You can watch the beginner lesson, and I talk a little bit more about this stuff. I do a little bit of a explanation as if you're 5 years old about what this is, in case you forget, because you guys have puny brains. It's okay. I have a little summary for that. And then here's the one that's really important, and the reason why I'm actually on this channel is I created a prop firm rules app, and this one is going to help explain a little bit about the prop firm rules. So if you're going to be trading other people's money, listen in. If you're going to trade your own money and you already know it, then you guys can tune out, or you guys can. I'm going to end the call like this. So if you're going to trade other people's money, there are a few rules that you should know about. I like, for example, the select funded account just because of these for some of the reasons we'll talk about in a bit. But if you do the select account, let's talk about this real quick. Select account at $159. Here is the rules. You have to hit 6,000 in profit in order for you to pass. But your max trailing drawdown is 3,000. Um, let's see what that looks like. So here's the end of day trailing max drawdown. So you have a $100,000 account. Let's say in one day you produce $1,000. Or how about this? I think these numbers are not consistent with You're not consistent with Tradeify's numbers. So instead, I just want you guys to get the concept of end of day trailing drawdown. So what do we mean by end of day? So at the first day, let's say that your starting equity is 100,000, and let's say you did have a stop loss or a end of day trailing drawdown of 4,500. What this is demonstrating is that your lowest point that you can hit is 9,550 or 95,500. If you go 1,000 for the next, if you produce 1,000 and now you're at 101,000, and day two, that floor increases as it goes up, right? So if you produce 1,000, now it's $4,500 from this number, 101. So then you can see how as you produce profit, that trailing drawdown will start to move up with you. And then if you go into a loss, just know that that trailing drawdown had stayed at that same level. It doesn't go down, it just stays. And then obviously, you know, um, you just want to stay as consistently profitable as much as you can because that end of day trailing drawdown is going to stay up with you at the highest point that you are. So if this is your highest point, here's your new drawdown. It stays there even though you hit a loss. And then obviously, if you go up again, your trailing drawdown still moves with you. So that's what it means by end of day trailing drawdown. If you get the highest Tradeify account, the trailing drawdown is 3,000. For the highest one, you get 4,500 of drawdown. Now, your downside though is that you have to hit a profit target of 9,000 here. This one you have to hit a profit target of 6,000. So if you have struggle producing a lot of money and you're not consistently making big trades, maybe this $150,000 account might be a little too hard for you because then let's say you'll never pass. Because if you can't produce a few $1,000s, what makes you think you can produce 9,000? Right. So then maybe this one's a little bit more viable to hit 6,000, or this one's the easiest, I guess, so to speak, because you only need to produce 3,000 for this account. It's also cheaper. So for the price of $99, you can get two of these accounts for, instead of paying 221. So you have two tries, so to speak, versus you get one try at this. But at this one, your trailing drawdown is so tight that you also have a higher propensity to lose the account. Whereas this one, you have a lesser propensity to lose the account because you have so much drawdown to work with. Cool. That's it for that. There's a so daily loss limit refers to there could be in Tradeify's specific scenario, a daily loss limit. It refers to a limit where if you hit it, it pauses your account for that day. You don't trade anymore. So if you're on the select account, for example, and you do the daily payout, you have a max trailing drawdown of 2,000, but they have a daily loss limit on here, which is I don't like. So this is why I don't do the daily. Um, they also have another clause in here that says you have to hit a certain number before you can start paying out. So, for example, we'll go ahead and say something like you need to hit $3,000 first, and then after that you can start doing daily. But they didn't write the clause in here. You don't see it. I don't see it on the chart, but I only know because I had to. When you get funded, you have to read through everything. So they don't tell you that in the daily. So I don't even recommend the daily payout option because of the daily loss limit, and you have to hit a certain threshold. Whereas if you do so let's say the daily loss limit. If you hit the 1,000, then you get paused for the day, and then tomorrow you have to go again. But remember, you already went to negative 1,000 of a loss. Your max is 2,000, so the next day you'll only have another $1,000 to work with for drawdown, which is sucky. Whereas this one, if you do this account, this one, the clause is you need to do 5 trading days of $250 or more for the day. So it could be 250, 400, 300, 500, 200, 250. As long as you get 5 trading days above $250, you can start doing the payout. So it doesn't, you don't have to hit a certain threshold. You just need to hit 5 days of winning days. and then you don't have that daily loss limit. You just get the you get the max trailing drawdown of 2,000, and you don't have to worry about accidentally hitting some sort of a loss limit. Cool. If you go to other prop firms, which I don't recommend, for like for example Apex, they'll do a very shitty version of the trailing drawdown, which is intraday trailing drawdown. So they'll literally count every tick. And as look, this is the time frame is quite literally by the minutes. So you see how this is not a day thing. Like every minute, it looks at your unrealized gains. So if you are unrealized 3,000, it's going to start moving up this trailing drawdown literally by every single tick that moves up with you. If you do it like Apex Trader Funding, they do this. They'll do intraday trailing, which kind of sucks. I don't know if they changed it, but yeah. So you guys can start using this to kind of figure out some of the things that you're confused about. But I also have this where if you have an end of day trailing drawdown of let's say 3,000, then your starting floor is 97,000, for example, in this case. So you can't hit 97,000, or if you do, you get taken out. The last rule that you guys are probably need to know, and by the way, I think MNQ should be up. Yeah, $180 for 4 contracts for MNQ. I just saw the percentage on top, so I just wanted to brag that if you just go long, it's fucking easy to make money in this market. Let's see, where was that? Oh, and then the last thing was going to be consistency rule. So the consistency rule means that your biggest day can't be more than 40% of your profit. What does that mean? So actually the math is really easy on this. If you take a calculator, if you do 3,000 and you have a consistency rule of 40%, this must mean that in short, your biggest day, for example, you can't in this and this very specific one and the select funded scenario, there's a consistency rule, and in this consistency rule, you can't have one day be 100% of your profit. In other words, you can't produce 3,000 in a day and then you just burn the other 2 days. So the consistency rule counters that and basically says, look, you need to kind of split it up a little bit, and your highest day can't be more than 40% of your profit. So for 40% of your profit for $3,000 of a profit target is going to be 1,200. Just FYI, just make, here's your rule of thumb. If you produce more than 1,200, you are shooting yourself in the foot. I don't want to explain the math. Just know that you need to hard cap yourself at 1,200. What essentially will happen is if you allow yourself to produce more than the consistency rule, you're going to have to produce more profit than the target. Because remember, the whole point of the evaluations to just pass the test. You don't get any kudos for overachieving. You just need to pass, and you need to pass minimally as possible. So do 1,200 if that's the math. So I have a consistency rule calculator here that says, what is your profit target? If it's 6,000, you have a consistency rule of 40%. Use my calculator. It says on day 1, you can at max do 2,400. Day 2, max 2,400. Well, by that point, you've produced 4,800. And then out of 6,000. So on your third day, you don't need to try too hard. You just need to produce 1,200. So this is the quickest, fastest path for this. If you have a consistency rule of 20%, this is sucky. What essentially you're doing is you have to take your profit target and you have to split it in 20% days, 20%, 20, 20, 20, 20. So at the minimum to pass for, if you see a consistency rule, because there's going to be other trading firms out there, see consistency rule of 20%, I would say stay away. It literally requires you to trade for 5 days minimum and at a very small pace. 40% is great because you can split it up in 3 days and the third day isn't as hard. Just use my calculator if you don't understand the math. I'm just letting you know now. I have burned myself by producing, let's say, 6,000 in a day, but there was a consistency rule. Actually, how about this? I'll show you how dumb this is. let's say, because there's going to be one of you guys is going to be really fucking dumb about this, and I want to show you the math. Okay, if you produce 6,000 in a day, in one day, but I told you minimum 3 days because with the 40% rule. If you do this, if you produce 6,000 on one day, then in order for you to pass now, you will also need to do another $6,000 in one day. And then after that, you'll need to do another another 20%, which means you need to also produce $30,000 on the third day. So here, if you accidentally do this, you produce 6,000 in a day. This is the math that you would need to do. You would need to do 6,000 on day one, then you would need to do 6,000 on day two, and then you would need to do 3,000 on day three in order to pass the test because of the 40% rule. So if you, I how about this? I don't even know if you need to help do the math. I just helped explain why would you guys make your lives harder. Just believe me when I say this. You would need to produce $15,000 in profit in order now to pass because you allowed yourself to do 6,000 in one day. So what is the solution to this? Let's say you accidentally set up a position overnight. This happened many times for me before. And you produce $4,000, but your max is 2004. If you have $4,000, start chipping, make stop losses and purposely lose money. Do $400 loss here, do a $300 loss, like purposely lose money and get it down to eventually it'll be like this, and then maybe realistically it'll be that number plus like some weird cent thing. This is what you want. You want to be under this threshold, or else you were gonna have to you'll be shooting yourself in the foot by you would have to produce more profit than what the bare minimum is if you don't do this. So as long as you guys paid attention to that, you guys should be good to go. Let me see. We dropped from 124 people to now 100. So for futures trading, you can't hold it overnight. No, you can't trade. I'll just make it easy for you. No, 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 no. This is a day trading class. You can't hold overnight. Just day trading. Apex has both now. That's good. I like Tradify. Yeah. I like Tradify a lot. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys do if you start looking into the rules, you use my little rule guide, which is in the futures trading channel. You guys will start to see if you start doing some math on some of the other accounts. Some of the rules fucking suck. So I like Tradify's rules, especially for their 5 day payout rule. It's nice, and then they pay out within hours whenever you do withdraw. So it's like super easy. Um, but the benefit of this, you guys, right? If you don't want to deal with any rules, you can just trade your own money. But the benefit is I spent $221 on the accounts, and I was able to get my payouts. I spent $221 on the account. I was able to receive a payout of 3,500. So that is why we do this, right? You can always trade your own money. Oh, the man. Oh, dude, the man was at 400. Now he's at 938. Didn't I fucking tell you? It's so easy. You're at almost $1,000, and probably all you did was go long. Was I right, the man? Here, respond to me. I don't look dumb. Did you go long pretty much this whole entire time while while I was talking about it in the chat? Yeah, see, you made almost $1,000 by just going long. You can do that if you want. Yeah, you can set up the profit loss trigger if you want in the settings. But if you're on mobile, you can't do that. So I just don't tell people about that. I'm pretty much 99.9% a mobile trader. So I quite literally will walk my dog and I'll trade. I will go to the mall and I will trade on my phone. I'll go to Starbucks and I will trade in line. I am 100% a mobile trader. I go in TradingView and I click buy and I click sell, and then I make thousands of dollars just while I'm out and about. That's why I'm usually gone from the chat. I don't stay on my computer for long. I'm only stay on my computer in the morning when I teach, and then after I teach, I'm just out like doing normal people shit, going to the gym, and then just clicking long. It's easy. Um, Ali just said, I just $800 just trying longing. I fucking told you. See how easy? It's easy. You just go long. It's easy in this market, right? In this market. And Ali just started this like literally what, an hour ago? and you're already up $800. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. Can you walk us through the process after getting funded? How about this, Chandler? You pass the test. After you pass the test, you get a funded account. You start back to zero. Now all the money from zero, all the money after that is now counted towards your payout. So as long as you can keep staying in profit, don't worry about it. The money will come, and then you can just click withdraw, and then thousands of dollars gets into your wallet. It's really easy. Um, I mean, look, Ali's like literally new at trading. I saw Ali just join like literally this week and produce $800 while being on this call. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys. How about this? I'm gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up here. I'm gonna answer any last minute questions, but I think you guys know what to do. You guys need to figure out if you're gonna go self funded or you're gonna go with a prop firm. If you do prop firm trading, use code FPU for Tradeify for Tradeify.co. Yes, there's a replay. Don't worry about that. I'll put up the replay in the announcements channel. Probably leave it up for a few days and then I'll take it down. Do the rules remain the same after getting funded? No, but they are pretty similar. So if you go funded, for example, here's the rules on here. Here's the rules on the funded. In fact, if you go to the select route, the select route's awesome because they have a 40% consistency rule when you're trading in during your evaluation phase where you're getting tested essentially, but then there's no consistency rule when it comes to your payouts. So the select account's awesome for that. Your mentorship cost tiers, yeah, it just depends on where you're at and how much help you need. If you need one-on-one trainings extensively, or if you're just good with the group calls, we can have some people reach out. I'll post the mentorship info in the announcement channel with the recording, so you guys can see it. But again, it's only for serious people only. We only have a very, very, very small subset of groups who are dedicated towards the mentorship. Otherwise, you guys can just go only long. You guys will be great, I think. So it says max payout, but does it require a minimum for payouts? I don't know if I talked about this. I think I did. For example, on the 5-day one, all you need to do is 5 days of $250 or more. So one trading day is $250 or more. 2 trading days is, day 2, you just need to produce $250 or more. So at the end of that, if you do 250, let's say you do 5 days, you do that, you're at a profit of 1,250. There's no consistency rule. There's no anything else. You can actually request a payout. If you request a payout, you have to do a 90-10 split. So if you withdraw all of that, you get to keep 90% of that. So you would get to keep $1,125. Hopefully that makes sense. But the max payout says 3,000. So ideally, if you want to really maximize this thing, maybe you don't do just the bare minimum, right? You're going to do maybe, let's see, some math. You do 750 one day, 750, and you keep doing 750s. If you do 750s and you do your max payout, you try to do your max payout. See, now you're at a profit of 3,750. Your max payout's 3,000. And then if you do a 90-10 split, you keep 2,700, they keep 300. So, again, remember, how much did you pay to get into this program? You paid $99 to get into this program, and already within maybe a week and a half or so, you're pulling out 2,700 from it. It's a good deal. Cool. Does it reset after the payout? No. The only sucky thing is when after you get paid out, now your trailing drawdown is lower, right? There is some rules, for example, that you need to think about, which is like there is this thing where there's a safety net, so to speak. So for this safety net, for example, at a $100,000 account, you have this safety net, which means that if you hit this number, you hit 103,100. I don't want to explain the math too much, but if you hit this number, 103,100, The trailing drawdown of 3,000, it stops. Where does it stop at? If you do this math, if you do 103,100 and you do a $3,000 trailing drawdown, the number stops. The trailing drawdown stops at 100,000. So what does that mean? If you hit 105,000 so you made 5,000 in profit. Remember, you already hit the safety net. And the safety net says that the trailing drawdown stops at 100,000. If you hit this number, the trailing drawdown stops at 100,000. So essentially this line flattens. And so you almost get now a $5,000 drawdown, right? Because now you're at 105. If your account's at 105 and the max trailing drawdown stops at 100,000, then that must mean that yeah, that's how much like leeway you have in that account now. So ideally, if you have produced 103, you don't want to withdraw all 3,000 because now when you withdraw, your max drawdown had stayed at 100,000. And if you withdraw, if you're at 103,100 and you withdraw 3,000, you only leave yourself with only $100 of a drawdown, you see? So the drawdown will stay with you for whatever the last payout was, whatever that last number was. And so just know that you pretty much do want to go to my calculator. You want to exceed the safety net and then go above it so that when you pay out, that drawdown kind of stays stuck at 100,000 in this case scenario. A little hard to explain, but just hit the safety net. Just produce a lot. If you guys produce a lot of money, you guys don't even have to worry. So just know that. Or you guys will probably need to consider just taking a less of a payout. So if you hit 130,000 and your drawdown, yeah, your drawdown would still be at 100,000. Yeah. So then when you get paid out, remember though, your max payout in this account, for example, is only $3,000. So every 5 days you can only pull out 3,000. So you just make sure that, you know, here's another consideration, queso fresco. If you produce that much money, just do the minimum it takes to pull out 3,000. Then 5 days later, pull out 3,000. 5 days later, pull out 3,000. While that money is coming in, you set up another account, and then that second account, you can for that second account, you can just have that. Remember, because now you have, let's have that going, because then that one is going to subject to its own 3,000. So if you had $30,000 but you split that up in multiple accounts, you could have done 3,000 on one account, 3,000 on the other account, and 3,000 on the third account, so to speak. So you can do $9,000 every 5 days. Whereas if you produce 30,000 in one account, remember, well, one account is limited. You can only do so much of a max payout. So that's why I would say once you start receiving money, buy more accounts and split that up so that you can have more payout opportunity. There is I've seen it back in the day. Some person got quite literally 25 $50,000 accounts, 25 of them. So when he withdrew $1,000, every time he withdrew $1,000 and he copy traded 25 of them, he was withdrawing $25,000 because he had 25 accounts. How do you trade multiple accounts? There are copy trade services. And actually, I think Tradeify Tradeovate has their own, but we can talk about that later. The reason why I need to talk about that later is that most of you guys are not qualified to trade more than one account because you guys are going to blow up. So there's no point in multiplying you blowing up. So if I know you're going to blow up one account and you get 25 accounts, you're basically going to blow up 25 accounts at the same time. You guys are not ready yet. You guys need to practice. So in futures, you are capped at withdrawing money, even after, yeah, so you are capped. So again, if you want to go self-funded, go that route. You don't have to worry about any rules. But I like it because you pay $99, you can pull out 3,000. So up to you how you want to go about it. Will you start to signal futures plays for us? No, I have. I'm really tied up with a lot of mentorship stuff. So with the mentorship stuff, I'm starting to day trade live. So I need a lot of mental energy to do it live because futures at my pacing is extremely fast, so I can't signal it because by the time I type it, the entry is gone. Quite literally, I've produced $1,000 in minutes before, and by the time I need to type it out, the opportunity is gone. Yeah, yeah. I mean, 3,000. If that money is good to you, imagine if you get multiple accounts at 3,000. You can go 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. If you get 5 accounts, that's $15,000 that you can withdraw every 5 days. And remember, how much does it cost to pull out 3,000? If you got 5 accounts, right? If you guys got 5 accounts, that's $500 uh, to as your buy-in. And then in, let's say, a week and a half, you can pull out 15,000. You guys see how insane that is? You're not putting in much money. And then if you lose, if you blow up the account, all you have to do is you just pay for a reset. And the reset is a cheaper amount of money than the initial buy-in. It would be like $80 or $90. And so if you need a reset, you're not blowing away thousands of dollars of your own capital. You're just blowing away their money. So it's fine. Yes. So in the morning group calls, Manny, I'm gonna start doing more. I started doing a little bit more day trading. But I'm this is all for the mentorship people. I'm gonna do a lot more futures trading because I'm to be honest, uh my options trading is just not as good because I keep putting so much energy into futures that I might as well just day trade live with you guys more. So I know you're like part of the mentorship, but um I started doing it in the morning, and then so you'll see that in the recordings. What's the best trading platform to start with? Just yeah, TradingView. It's fine. Is there a way to copy your trade off of my account? No, um, not at the moment. No. Cool. All right. You guys asked a lot of great questions. I have an hour and pretty much 40 minutes of recording, so that's awesome. You guys will have all of the recordings here later. You guys know that if you guys have any questions, or if you guys forgot, you guys have the recording for a little bit. You can download the recording because I'm probably going to keep the recording up for only a few days. Where's the futures trading channel? Futures trading channel is up here in the education hub. Go to futures trading channel. You can click on this to see my guide for how to go about the rules. In general, you guys will suck. Just know that you guys will absolutely suck. You guys will blow up many accounts if you're not careful. So just take it slow and do like the micro version, the MNQ or MES. You guys will be good. We'll put up the mentorship info if you guys are interested in looking at mentorship info. This free stream was amazing. Absolutely, of course, of course. I was happy to help you guys. And so yeah, with that, I think we covered a lot of like 100 we did 100 minutes of training today for this masterclass. So thank you guys so much for being a part of it. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in the chat. All right. Have a great rest of your day, you guys. I'll stay for a couple more minutes to answer any questions. Peace out. Take care. Bye. So let's say you have a $50,000 account so a $50,000 account is $100 FYI. Let's get that straight. It's you pay $99. Sorry, $99 will get you a $50,000 account. Your max drawdown is 2,000. So in this account at max you can lose 2,000 before they kick you out. Hopefully that explains that. Cool. Any other questions? Hey, there's 60 people in here. Leave. Class is over. I'm just here to answer and last minute questions, but you guys are good to go. All right, take care. Have a good one. Very welcome, you guys. All right, I'm gonna stop recording then. Yes, if you self-fund, I do recommend trading on Tradovate. It has the best rates and has the best platform, and you can tie it to your TradingView, which makes it awesome, even easier. And then if you want help setting up your Tradovate, I in my futures trading channel, you can go down to this video and you can watch that video. I think I talk about how to set up your Tradovate setup if you want to do trade on the Tradovate platform. Otherwise, I showed you guys that you can link up, so to speak, on TradingView, and on TradingView, you just click literally log in with Tradovate. You put in your credentials, and then you're hooked up. If I trade every day, is there a difference between flex and daily account? Just know that I always recommend the flex, the 5 day one. Yeah, just know that. I recommend the 5 day one. Yeah. Oh, here you go. Here you go. Let me forward this to the announcements channel so you guys can see that. Or actually, I should just repost it. I will put this in the announcements channel. Here we go. Justin, my. There you go. If you're serious about it, talk with us. Yeah, just know that we've actually had a couple members go from 1,000 to $140,000 within this past month. So it is quite a serious trek to do the amount of work I'm going to ask you to do. So I really can't just have everybody just join. So it's a little bit. It's very serious and intensive. And Chopper would know. Chopper's been in it a long time. It's very there's way more things about trading you would have to learn that it cannot be overstated that learning how to trade is quite the journey. So it requires really serious people. I don't know if Mentor, if Chopper, you want to attest to any of the difficulties it is going through. I think Chopper went through the full cycle of I think I got it. I think I understand everything. Everything's coming easy. Everything's good. And then you get shit on for a little bit. And then you're like, how do I get my. Now I'm depressed. I thought I knew everything. And then I don't. And then I go through the cycle. And then I'm going. And then I have to like build you up again. And after I build you up, you're like, okay, wait, this was easy. I think I got it. And then, yeah, it's a lot of back and forth, right? I think yeah, Chopper Chopper's been through a lot, but I think Chopper is now more seasoned and knows exactly what to expect. You're gonna have cycles of good days and bad days, and you need to know how to handle every day as if there's a new day. Will there be a call tomorrow? Yeah, there'll be a call tomorrow for the mentorship group people. I'll even trade live if I can. So yeah, I started the mentorship 2 weeks ago and up 2,300. Yeah, that's awesome. Started with 1,000. That's really actually that's good actually. Good, 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 good. Yeah, I put you guys through a lot through the mentorship. That's why I'm never in the chat anymore. I'm just too busy trying to figure out how can I optimize the mentorship stuff. Cool. All right, you guys. Enough of that. Maybe until the next. Maybe I'll do a workshop once every month. So you guys are here for the monthly workshop, I guess. Congratulations. Thank you guys have stayed for this long. But now I really got to go. I got to go do stuff in my life. I got to go work out and be active and be a good human. So, what now I'm getting selfish. So take care, you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And for the mentorship people, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the group call. All right, take care.